We have one more speaker for today, and I think the bar is set really high by these two. It's my pleasure to introduce Rhett McLaughlin, our graduation speaker. Rhett grew up in Harnett County and graduated from this department, magna cum laude, with a degree in civil engineering in 2000. Started down the path of an engineer, working for Black & Veatch, and then later on felt called to join his best friend from childhood, who also is a graduate of this college, to enter a brand new industry that was just developing at the time, which was internet entertainment. And so he and his friend Link Neal became partners, and they started a YouTube video series called Good Mythical Morning that my youngest son was a big fan of, I have to say, so my credibility with my kids went way up when I told them who I was getting to meet today. But that show has had 8 billion views, imagine that, 8 billion views, and it has 18.1 million current subscribers. That is not the only thing he's done with his engineering degree. He and Link also run a media company that produces video and podcast shows for other people as well. And I think I heard it said this morning that they've got about 150 employees working for their company. So maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rhett. But they also, if that weren't enough, they're best-selling authors. They have 2 recent books that have made the New York Times bestsellers list. The first one, Rhett and Link's book of Mythicality, a field guide to curiosity, creativity, and tomfoolery. Talks about everything they learned here at NC State and all their favorite classes and professors, right? And then the more recent book, The Lost Causes of Bleak Creek, is a fiction book that reached number 13 on the bestseller list. So welcome home, Rhett, and we're so grateful to you for sharing your thoughts and wisdom with the class of 2023.
I'm not really built for podiums. I'm surprised that made it past your fact checker. We made all that up. I don't really feel qualified to be here. I haven't done a lot of engineering over the past 20 years. I have eaten a lot of weird stuff with my best friend on the internet. Apparently that's good enough. Thank you. Thanks for having me. You may have noticed something lately as you are in the midst of this transition from whatever you're doing now to whatever you're about to do. A lot of people are doing some pretty impressive things from what I just heard. But you probably noticed that the older people in your life are giving you lots of unsolicited advice. We cannot help it. It is built into our DNA. We see somebody going through something that is a lot like something that we went through in the past, and we cannot resist to force feed you our nuggets of wisdom. We got lots of nuggets of wisdom, and we love it when you're trapped in a room and we have a microphone and a podium. It doesn't get any better than this for us. And I am including myself in older people. I'm 45, guys. Yeah, I've got this weird haircut. What's wrong? What's the one on the back of his hair? What's he doing with that? It's a man bun. Okay. I have a secret, though, from all us older people, and that is we don't have any idea what we're doing. We are making it up as we go. The only thing that we've gotten better at is appearing like we've got it together, okay? But we don't. Do not trust us. You see, that's a secret that we are not willing to share with each other or you on a regular basis, and it gives you permission to not listen to anything I'm going to say, okay? But I would like you to act like you are listening, because that would help me with my performance and confidence. I would like you to close your eyes. It's going to be a little awkward. I hate it when people who are speaking to groups ask the group to close their eyes, but I'm doing it. close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm not going to come out there. It makes me feel awkward when people do this. It makes me feel vulnerable because I feel like maybe the speaker's going to come out and pop me in the face. I'm not going to come out and punch anybody in the face. Why would you even think that? Why would you even ask that? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask you to do a little thought experiment with me. I want you to imagine yourself in the future, 10 years in the future. The year is 2033. I'm no longer an engineer, but I can still do math. I'm going to ask you a series of questions about what your life is going to be like, and I want you to do your best to actually make a specific decision, a prediction as to how things are going to be. And I want you to be bold. I want you to, pick the thing that you want to happen, the ideal answer, okay? Keep it realistic now. Let's be grounded. You're not going to be one of the first or the first ever civil engineer to win a Nobel Prize. No one's ever done it. You're probably not going to do it. So keep it grounded. Keep it realistic. 10 years from now, you wake up. Where are you? Are you in your parents' house? No shame in that if you are. Are you in your own place? Oh, look at you. Okay. There's someone next to you in bed. Yes, there are still beds in 2033. Who is this in bed with you? Is it a dog? Is it a cat? Are you one of those people? It's not a snake, is it? You don't be one of the people that has a snake or a reptile in the bed, okay? It's weird. It's probably unsafe. Is it a person? Okay, all right, you got a person. Is this person someone that you know right now? Is this person someone you would like to know? They don't look quite as good in the morning, do they? Time to go to work. Okay, what's your job? Where are you going? Are you going to a job that is somehow related to what you just studied? You going to an office? Do you have your own office? Is this job in a field that you did not study for? You working inside? You working outside? Are you having fun? Okay, you can open your eyes. See, I didn't come to punch you in the face. I saw the way you looked at me. Okay, if you had asked me to do this particular exercise in the year 2000 when I was sitting where you're sitting right now, I would have gotten a lot wrong. I would have gotten one thing right. I was engaged to my wife at the time, and we're still married. Hold your applause. She looks great in the morning. I think she might be watching the live stream. She looks great in the morning. But I would have gotten everything else wrong, including my job, because, as was mentioned earlier, I got a job in an industry that did not yet exist. If you had told me in the year 2000 that in the year 2010 I would be a YouTuber, I would have been like, okay, I guess I'm going to be making personalized tubes for people. Okay. We got catheters, oxygen things, yeah. People like them different colors. That's not what it is, by the way. And the reason that I was able to get a job in an industry that didn't yet exist is because things changed so much just during the time that I was in college. But when I got to NC State, I did not have a computer, a cell phone, or an email address. I got my first ever email address when I showed up here. And when I graduated, I had multiple email addresses, a cell phone, a personal computer. And those changes that were happening to all of us at the time ended up creating this opportunity that I couldn't anticipate. And think about how much more things have changed for y'all since you started school. We've talked about COVID a lot. And you had to be in school during it, but it didn't make this specific time just different for you. It's made the world different. We live differently. We work differently. We think differently because of that. Some other things have happened. Like we're kind of sort of involved in a war right now where there's a legitimate possibility that someone might detonate a nuclear bomb. Like that kind of happened. Oh, and by the way, apparently there's aliens now. That happened while you were in school. We got aliens. People started talking about it, like they're having Senate hearings about it. And maybe the most important thing, the most significant thing that you're probably already tired of people talking about is the revolution in AI that has been happening over the time that you've been in school. But you're tired of hearing people talk about it, but you're the first graduating class that is being deployed into the next step in your life in the midst of a world where there's been an absolute revolution in this, and now it's readily available to the public, and it's already changing the way people are working, the way people are learning in very significant ways. I often wonder if I could still do engineering. You know, if this tube thing doesn't work out. And I had a little chat with my friend GPT out of curiosity. And I entered a series. I was like, you know, first of all, I was, just no offense, guys, I was in the easy one. I was in water resources. This is the easy one, right? Right. Right, I mean, you know, rain, pipes, tubes, really. And I was like, what if I had to design a parking lot right now to park 300 cars and I needed an adequate drainage system and an adequate retention pond? Could I do that? Well, yes, apparently in 12 minutes, a little one-on-one time with ChatGPT, I was able to do that. And not just that, I was able to have it generate Python code for me that could create a visualization of this parking lot with the locations of the drains. 12 minutes. That was a little concerning. Now, I will say that it repeatedly said, you know, you really should be working with a professional engineer. So the robot overlords believe that your job is necessary, at least for now. But what is the significance of the fact that, do I think this means that your education is useless? Parents, no. But do I think there is a significance to the fact that this advanced language model that is getting better by the second already knows everything that I've forgotten about engineering? I think there is some significance to that. But I'm not going to say, well, you're not going to have jobs. No, there's going to need to be a human element in all this. But as it relates to that thought exercise, it has made your future incredibly unpredictable. And what does that mean for you? Well, unfortunately, you're humans, and we don't like unpredictability. In fact, we take a lot of comfort in orienting our present in order to increase the probability of some future desired outcome. In some ways, that's what school is, right? You're doing things now. You're making good decisions, some of you better than others. To orient the present towards a future desired outcome. And what happens when humans arrive to the future? When they arrive at that outcome? Usually it's one of two things, right? First thing that happens quite often is you arrive at some point in the future and you do not get the thing that you wanted and you are disappointed. And then sometimes you arrive at that point in the future and you get the thing that you wanted and you are disappointed. It's funny how that works. And it's so common for people to arrive at points in the future and be disappointed, regardless of whether things go right or wrong, that we've come up with all kinds of cliches and advice that you've heard before. That's the good news. Well, the bad news is you're going to be disappointed in your future. Thank you. Good night. The good news is we've all been here before, and there's actually a lot of wisdom that has been dispensed that you already have, you already know. You've heard these things before, right? Focus on the journey, not the destination. Ooh, that sounds good. Live in the present, not the future or the past. Don't spend so much time and energy thinking about what you want. Be grateful for what you have now. Have an attitude of gratitude. Get it on a bumper sticker, t-shirt maybe, tank top, yes. That's all great. It's all great. We all agree, but we have a really difficult time believing it and feeling it. You know, if when I was sitting where you're sitting, and if you had told me this, I would be like, yes, I agree with all this. Everything you're saying is right. It's about the journey, not the destination. You got to have an attitude of gratitude. But I would go on over the next 20 years to continue to attach myself to future desired outcomes and to arrive at those things. And let me tell you, this whole tube thing has gone pretty well. People are really into the tubes. I got a lot to be grateful for, but I have still arrived at these points in my life and experienced, mixed in with contentment, this disappointment. So what would I say to myself, knowing that you, probably like me, would agree with these ideas, but might have a difficult time really making it a part of the way you navigate life? Well, I had another chat with my friend GPT. I entered everything that I have said thus far into the prompt and asked it to give me a compelling, dramatic ending for a group of graduates. This is what they said. As you stand on the precipice of a new chapter in your life, dear graduate, remember to seek the nourishment of happiness within the fertile soil of personal growth and the present moment. Though the allure of future achievements may beckon, entwining your contentment too tightly with their attainment can leave you adrift. It's natural to dream, but let your heart remain rooted in the here and now, for it is within this balance that you will truly flourish as you embark on life's grand odyssey. Y'all gonna clap for a computer? Okay, listen. I was not that impressed with what ChatGPT had to say. I didn't find it all that compelling. And you know why? And maybe you agree, is that I knew that that perspective did not come from human experience. It came from human mimicry. It didn't come from someone that can experience disappointment. It came from something that has learned how to talk like someone who can experience disappointment. And so, instead of leaving you with that, I'll leave you with this. You are going to experience disappointment at various stages in your life. You're going to get to something, like I said, whether it goes right, whether it goes wrong, you're going to get there and you're going to be disappointed. And when you feel that disappointment, realize that it's a gift. The disappointment is a gift that you can take and use it to chip away at your attachment, your very human attachment to specific desired outcomes. And never stop chipping away at that attachment. You'll probably never completely sever it, but you got to keep trying. And also, if your computer becomes sentient, starts doing weird things, take your disappointment and sever the power cord. Okay? Thank you.